Good day and welcome to Mr. Wilson Live, streaming from Jamaica in the Caribbean. This evening, we're going to be looking at personal hygiene, food hygiene, antibiotic resistance, and sensitivity. It promises to be an interesting lineup. We are hoping to have students from right across the Caribbean sharing in this content. Now, we are just blocks away from CXC. CXC will start on the 14th, I was told, of June. And I think your SBAs, they are due somewhere around the 18th, somewhere there. So we have some work to put in for those persons who have not completed the SBAs, for those persons who have not completed the IA. You want to make sure that you're wrapping up on your SBA and the IAs. Make sure that the teacher would have done the first mark. Correction is pretty much up there. And of course, you are moving towards the highest possible grade for your SBA. Now, this could make a major difference for those persons who really believe that they can pass, for those persons who are going for that one in CXC. The SBA definitely is going to make a difference. For those persons who are joining me for the first time, I'm seeing Jarul for the first time. Good evening. And to those persons who have always been with me, good evening. For the persons who are joining for the first time, we're in crunch hours, and you probably want to find out, how can I get that additional help? Where can I get that additional help? Is the additional help available? I want to say that we have been doing the lives from the beginning of the syllabus. And of course, you can go to the back end of my channel. How to access the back end, you're going to look below the video you're watching. So it's on this side. I think it's on this side on your screen. A little blue circle with, of course, CSEC Biology, TCP. If you are new to YouTube, just click that button there and it will take you to the back end of the channel where you can select from over 200 videos, lessons to help you. For other persons, there are also multiple choice questions on the channel. There's a playlist of multiple choice paper for biology. There's a playlist of multiple choice paper for human and social biology. And this would include multiple choice and paper 2. How are you doing from wherever you are? I observe that I'm seeing a lot of new persons this evening. I probably want to single them out. I'm seeing Bud, I'm seeing Robinson, I'm seeing Johnson, I'm seeing Campbell, I'm seeing Walker. Juliana is always here, and I'm also seeing Roe and Jennifer. Well, this is, of course, a wonderful evening. I don't know what's happening. I'm not seeing my regular fans, the persons who are usually here. They are not here as yet. To those persons who are here, however, if you go up in the chat, you will realize that there are some video links to some videos that the HSB students, the human and social biology students, are supposed to know. For all my lives moving into exam, I'll be posting some videos. They might not be mine. They might be from other creators. And when you watch these videos, ensure you give those creators some love. Watch these videos and try to remember all that is there. Now, Juliana Robinson, hi, my sister told me to log. Okay, cool. So it's Juliana Robinson's sister is, of course, I see. Very well. Juliana is my friend. Great. All right, so what we want to do this evening, as we say, we're going to be looking at hygiene. And it might be funny for me to ask the question, why should we have a shower? But before we get into why we should have a shower, I want us to first look at the whole concept of personal hygiene. What is hygiene? Now, hygiene means that it refers to measures taken to prevent infection and ensure good health. So once we're talking about hygiene, we're talking about measures that we're going to be taken to prevent an infection and also to ensure that we have good health. Now, one might say, so how does having a shower falls into good hygiene? Well, hygiene can be divided into many groups. And you could probably add your group to hygiene. You could talk about oral hygiene, you could talk about personal hygiene, you could talk about food hygiene, and the list goes on and on and on. But why should we have a shower? Now, the skin is the body's largest organ. Hi, Gavi. How you doing? I was told that Zaf is here in the island. I don't know what's happening. We're not linked. Sorry, guys. There's somebody in the chat there. I am just going to give them something, and I'll get right back to you. Just give me 1 second, guys. Right. So I was saying that the skin is the body's largest organ. It is called the integument system, and it pretty much covers the entire body. So all the organs are encapsulated in the skin. However, the skin need to have its fair share of protection because in its effort to protect us from harm, it is secreting sweat, which contains urea and salt. It is secreting oil that pretty much forms a layer on the skin. And when you think of that along with the pollution, the suspended particles in the air, then you realize that on your skin might be a whole haven for pathogens to strive. Now, when we look at the pollution in the air, accompanied by pathogen that might be suspended, and of course the dry scum on the skin, we're seeing that the organisms could very well find food easily on the body. So if we are going to remove the food that some bacterium would have, or that some bacteria would have, not bacterium, that some bacterium would have, then it is wise that we fetch for ourselves a shower, a bathe, whatever you call it, in your locality in order to remove the sweat and solid particles from the skin, which would include urea and, of course, the dirt and the pathogen that we pick up on a daily basis. So having a shower is very, very important. Now, one might say, what if I choose not to have a shower? What are the adverse implications? Now, I'm going to share with you what the implications are, and you can tell me if it's worth it. Gavi, there's my email address. Just send me something with your number, and I will tag you in later. All right, great. That's the email address at the bottom of the screen there. So we spoke about the pollution. We spoke about pathogen in the air. We spoke about the dried scum on the skin, right? And we spoke about, of course, the urea, which contains salt. We spoke about the sweat, which contains urea and salt. And of course, we have some dead cells there. Now, if we don't remove this scum, this urea, the salt, these dead cells from the body, we did say that we're going to be exposing ourselves to what is called skin infection, and that is pretty much wide. Now, if not removed, it makes a good breeding site or a good breeding ground for microorganisms. Now, if you're a biology student and you were supposed to look at the sigmoid growth curve, you would realize that whatever organism, they will only thrive when environmental and biologicals, when both abiotic factors and biotic factors are ideal. Now, if you don't have a shower, then on your skin, those factors will be satisfied. And if these factors are satisfied, then it's only natural that we're going to be having fungus on the skin, bacteria on the skin. Then we're going to start having lesions, or what we refer to as sore. The skin might become hard, and who knows what else will happen. Of course, everyone does. You're going to have bad odor if you don't bathe. If you don't have a shower, practice personal hygiene. If you don't brush your teeth properly, if you don't take care of the tongue properly, you are definitely going to be having an odor problem. Now, outside of the skin infection, the odor is usually this big thing, and sometimes it's a visual thing. You can see that this person is dirty and unkept and that type of a thing. And most persons really don't want to be associated with persons that are unkept. Hence, it is very important that you practice personal hygiene. Now, the list of things that you can do, it is immense. All right. Now, prevention of bad skin hygiene. What can we do? You need to wash your hair regularly, right? And when you wash, you want to do some, so a little more, what do I say? Is there any, what do I, cosmic student here? So you want to wash the hair regular with, of course, a good shampoo. And you want to make sure that you massage while you're washing the hair. Now, this will help to remove what we call sebum. It will remove dirt. And, of course, it will help to clean up the hair and the hair follicle. So at least the hair will look and smell good and, of course, look healthy. You need to have a shower. And when you're having a shower, you see, make sure that you're having a shower with soap and water. So there we have somebody saying that you can get ringworm, and that is true. If you don't dry wear, I'm going to get to that, right? So when you have yourself a shower or a bath, make sure that you're using a soap. Have a shower with a soap and, of course, a good rag. Remember, we said on the skin now we have dirt, we have urea, we have salt, we might have pathogen, and we have oil on the skin. So you understand that you're going to need to rub the skin properly, right? Or if you have warm water, this would have even been better. But the question is, why do we need to have soap in times like this when everything is raising almost every week? What the soap will do, it will quickly, one might say, emulsify the dirt on the skin, but it will quickly remove the dirt and oil on the skin. The soap is designed for that sort of a thing, to make sure that the dirt and the oil and the scum is quickly removed from the skin. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Campbell. We're doing well so far. Warm water and rubbing the skin. When you rub the skin, when you rub the scalp, massage, it increases and improve circulation of the blood. Now, if the blood is circulating well, what we know is that we're going to have more excretion taking place through the skin, and the skin will just look healthy and well charged. So you want to ensure that you're doing these type of stuff to ensure that you have healthy skin. So be reminded, you need to have a regular shower, right? You need to wash your hair. You need to brush your teeth at least twice per day. This type of stuff we need to do in practicing personal hygiene. Then there's also the deodorant aspect that you need to incorporate in your hygiene plan. Apply to clean skin to reduce sweating. So when you use that deodorant under the arm, warm water is good for shower, not water that will destroy the cells. You don't want hot water to destroy the cells, but of course you understand that the warm water will sort of, should I say, I don't know if I can say dissolve for some persons, but will allow like the oil to move a little freer, getting off the skin. And the warm water will of course remove the bacteria. Now the deodorant applied under the arm, it will definitely reduce sweating. It will also destroy bacteria, and of course, they will prevent that unpleasant odor that we have come not to like within our local domain. Another important thing we need to do, having looked at the ringworm on screen, is that we need to ensure that we dry our skin properly. Dry the skin properly after shower to prevent fungus. Dry the scalp properly after washing the hair to prevent fungus. Now, it's also important that you use moisturizer or lotion on the skin to help to protect the skin. In some cases, if you are of a light complexion, you might have to use things like sun ray, which doesn't really fall into personal hygiene, but you want to ensure that the skin looks presentable and healthy in all sense, in all circumstances. Then there's all that which we refer to as and hygiene. So we spoke about all that could happen to the skin. You could have fungus, you could be exposed to ringworm, which is a fungus. You might end up with bacterial infection on the skin if you fail to practice proper hygiene. And I'm coming from the syllabus, guys. This is not something I just feel to talk about arbitrarily. Then there's hand hygiene. Now, having looked at the many diseases that we have been looking at in the past couple of weeks, you should be in a position to speak on hand hygiene. Now, proper washing of the hand is important. I have said that after COVID, we might be having some serious problem with diarrhea because we have been practicing this, we have been having this hygienic standard since COVID, where we keep cleaning our hands with disinfectant, keep cleaning our hands with disinfectant. After COVID, if we were supposed to throw away this disinfectant or stop using this disinfectant, we think that probably the immunity would have somewhat fallen. In some cases, the body's resistance would have somewhat fallen, and as such, you might be exposed to pathogen right after COVID. So even after COVID, we want you to continue to practice washing the hands, especially after you have used the toilet. Now, one thing about using the toilet and washing the hand is that usually we have worms in some eggs. It's not in all cases that we see it. More so the eggs. The eggs might fall on the hand, and you put back the hand in the mouth or share a piece of bun and cheese with somebody, and you are passing off some worm from yourself to somebody else. So ensure that you wash your hands after you would have used the toilet. Now, of course, like I said, the eggs can be transmitted from the hand to the mouth, or from me to you, or you to me, or vice versa. Now, what are some of the effects if we fail to wash our hands properly? We could be transmitting tapeworm, schistosomiasis, hookworm. You could also end up with cholera, dysentery, or the Norwalk problem. Now, with the Norwalk, what happens is that you end up having diarrhea. And the Norwalk is more so popular where a whole lot of food is prepared, like probably at a hotel and a cruise ship and that type of a thing. So we want to ensure that the hands are properly washed, and be reminded that the passage of pathogen from one person to another, it is not something that you have to fill out the application for. All that you need to do is probably just to be in the area where it is, or touching the knob of a door, or touching the knob of a car, the handle of a car, getting into the car, or opening your gate. And there you have it. You would have had, or probably could have been exposed to some pathogen. So washing the hand and cleaning the fingernail before cooking and preparing food is also very, very important. So wash it every day, but when you're cooking, it's even more important. Can you imagine I have some eggs on my hands and I'm preparing you a nice sandwich? You would have had your sandwich, and before you know it, you have some worms, you start having diarrhea, you're not too sure what would have happened, all because the person who's preparing your food did not practice proper personal hygiene. Then we are going to look at the care of the genital. I will talk about the genital, that's that pubic area, some would call it. Now, this area, when you have yourself a shower, because this is so much of a special area and it's a little different than the other parts of the body, so the secretion there is a little different. You have to make sure that it's properly cleaned, and cleaned more than one time for the day. You have to wash that area properly after you have been involved in intercourse, because at that time when you are involved in sexual intercourse, what happens is that the nutrient content around this area is even greater, and with more nutrient come more pathogen. Now, circumcision is a term that it's really a term of controversy, where some religions, they are of a different view as to what should happen, and some persons are saying that this is the best thing to happen, while some persons are saying with circumcision, what is going to happen is that you could be retarding the sensitivity of the penis. Now, another thing with circumcision is that when you circumcise, the ability to clean the penis is much greater. Right? Now, the penis can become injured as a result of circumcision and it is exposed to your clothing and this rough clothing because you were born with this thing to cover this area and protect it. So when you remove it, from my opinion, I think that you are damaging the penis. No, I think that in most cases the penis must be able to turn over and clean. So you want to ensure that it is properly clean. More so in babies, the younger ones who are just growing up, they really don't understand the genital pretty well. So you want to ensure that it is properly clean. Another thing that is said, I have no proof. Another thing that is said about circumcision is that circumcision may prevent or may protect you against HIV and AIDS. Now, how does that work? I know that everybody's body is wide open. No, but depending on what your genital is like, you might suffer from a tear because you're not circumcised. And in that case, I can understand about the AIDS HIV thing. But like I say, I have no proof of that. I have heard of it. It could. It is not to say that if you're circumcised, you're not going to catch AIDS. I'm not saying that. It is not to say that if you don't circumcise, whichever way you put it. What I'm saying, I have no proof, and this could never ever be a hit, because if it was a hit, then person would just stop circumcised or start circumcised, and then AIDS would be a thing of the past. So it just really don't fall well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. I don't know why they put that in a textbook, but it is in textbooks around the place. Another thing that we need to look at is clothing. So here you got a shower. We need to change our clothing and wash them regularly, and wash them with soap. And where you can use hot water and the soap, it will help to get rid of the dirt and the pathogen very, very quickly. Now, your footwear. Going outside, it's very important that you wear something on your feet. And the reason for that is that you might go there without shoes, or right, going outside without shoes or footwear. This could cause you to pick up some worm. So it's always good to have footwear. Does warm water affect semen production? Warm water, this is like a different class. It's reproduction. I know that warm water, depending on the temperature, could of course kill sperms. I was told that it's a practice, but as to how it affects semen production, I am not at any liberty to speak on that. I really don't know. I really don't know about warm water and semen production. I don't know. I'm sorry. All right. So the last thing here on personal hygiene is social acceptance. Uh, if you're not practicing social personal hygiene, then naturally, persons are going to try to stay away from you. You might not have a lot of friends. Persons are just staying away from you. Nobody wants to be your friend if your personal hygiene is not up to par. So if you're going to be this friendly person, make sure that your hygiene is up to par. We also want to look at food hygiene. Are we coming down nicely in our class next week? We are going to be looking at drugs. Everything around drugs we are going to be covering next week, because the time is coming down on us and we're not going to be having any class as of the June. All right. So if you are just joining us, please be reminded to like, share, and of course, subscribe. To subscribe, there is a yellow button to the right of your screen. So click on that yellow button to subscribe, or just below that, there's another subscription button. You can click that subscription button, and of course, click the notification bell and select all, so that when we have a video or any notice, it comes directly to you. Remember to share the link with someone, that somebody can be a part of the good news. All right, very well. Now let's look at food hygiene. Food hygiene is very, very important. And eating up the food is not always the answer, because eating up the Sunday Monday might kill or will kill the bacteria in the food, but it will not affect the toxin that was produced by the bacteria. So you have some person who eat this overnight food and they say, well, me deal with the bacteria, man. No bacteria doing it. Yeah, the bacteria, they would have gone. But guess what? There's a toxin that is released by the bacteria that is now going to cause you some problem. So when we think about food hygiene, the first thing that should come to mind is that food should be stored away from flies, rats, mice, insects, pathogen and a whole. All right. The preparation of food is also very important. But before we get into the preparation, we want to set the base, right? So these organisms, we really don't want them near to our food. Whether they are on the food, close to the food, roach, all of that, we don't want those stuff near to our food. So even if we have a kitchen and we have a roach in it, that's a problem, right? If we have a kitchen and a fly is flying too close, that is a problem, right? And remember that a roach is an insect. So when I say insect, we don't want that there, all right? We don't want any rat or mice in our kitchen, whether they are on the food or otherwise. We don't want it anywhere close to where food is being prepared. Now, our local situation might be different. There are those of us who live in concrete houses. There are those of us who live in low-lying region where houses have to build on stilts, like stick up in the air. Now, for these houses, they are usually not houses. Sometimes they are built on stilt that is concrete, and in some cases it's not. Now, in these cases, we need to build around the stilt what we refer to as metal flanges. And these are like some spikes coming down. And what these will do, they will prevent rats from climbing up the stilt to come into the house. You have to buy food from hygienic place. That's true, clean places. And it doesn't mean that the big restaurants are clean. Let me hope that's not where we are going, because there are some little restaurants that are really clean. Food have to be heated to the temperature it was cooked. All right, so we're going to talk. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we get a little deeper into the lesson. And we're looking at sterilization. All right, great. Now, while we spoke about the house with the flanges, it must always be we must always be reminded or be mindful of the fact that meat should be kept in a refrigerator. Meat should be kept in a refrigerator, in the freezer at the suitable temperature. If we are going to store meat, we need to store it either hanged up with metal, stainless steel preferably, or if we are going to use a food safe, we need to have it on metal frames. Now, the area where food is prepared must be cleaned, and the surface on which you are preparing the food must be smooth. Why should it be smooth? Because in the rough area, what will happen is that the microbes, they will stay right there and then they will reproduce, providing the situation becomes favorable. You should clean your utensils. Yes, this is HSB, and we're looking at hygiene, as it were, from your syllabus. Utensils must be cleaned. Is either we're going to be using hot water or we're going to be using steam. And we could talk about using detergent as well, as we will cover in the lesson. Now, we should keep domestic animals out of area where food is served or prepared. All right. Now we should also wash our kitchen towels. I don't know what you call them in your locality, but in your local, but you should wash those and ensure that at all time they are well kept. All right. So we want to have clean utensils. Now let's look at cooking. We're still in the kitchen. Now meat should be cooked at high temperature. The high temperature will destroy microorganisms if they are present. Why we should cook off the fact that there are some vitamins that are destroyed by high temperature. One such vitamin is vitamin C. One such vitamin is vitamin C. Avoid reeating fish and meat. Don't cook them, eat them, reheat them. Don't do that. Try not to do that. All right? It may activate, this is why you shouldn't do it. It could activate those heat resistant bacteria that were not pretty much active at the original state of cooking. So you don't want to eat and reheat because you will reactivate those bacteria. And of course, they are going to be causing some serious problem for you. Like I said when we started out, heat will destroy a lot of bacteria, but heat cannot destroy the toxin. So we want to stay away from that overnight food and stay away from food that is not well prepared or is not prepared under hygienic condition. Sterilization. What is sterilization? Before I get into sterilization, just let me give you another YouTube lesson very quickly. Below the video, you are going to see save. To the right of save, you will see 3 full stop, or that which we refer to as ellipses. If you were supposed to click on those 3 little dots, you will see a new little pane opened with a flag and something that says open transcript. If you were supposed to click on the open transcript, everything that I'm saying, you would have seen it there written in words and timeline. So for example, we're looking at sterilization now. You could choose where you want to replay this video from. So sterilization is the use of technique to completely destroy things or pathogen within the space that you are working. So when we talk about sterilization, sterilize the area, sterilize the knife and fork. You have to ensure that this area is a sterile area if you are going to be preparing food in it. What it means that this area is free from pathogen, free from disease-causing organism, because we would have used one of many methods to deal with that. We could use heat, which could include pasteurization, boiling, ultra high temperature. We could use detergent, among other stuff, in order to have a thing, an organism, sterilized, clean. Let's look at some food now, as it were, for sterilization. Now, with milk from the cattle, we have to be concerned about tuberculosis, TB. Some nice things are happening in the chat from Jones. I like what's happening. We have to be concerned about tuberculosis. Now, milk is processed by pasteurization. And pasteurization could take 2 forms. We could eat the milk at 63 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes. Then allow it to cool. That's one way. Another way, we could eat the milk to 72 degrees Celsius and then cool it very quickly. Either method is good. Now, this will kill the lactic acid bacteria that will change lactose into lactic acid. So when we have milk, we need to heat the milk. Before I get into boiling, it might be nice for me to talk about boiling here, as it were, with milk. Boiling is also another good method to sterilize the milk. However, when we boil the milk, what will happen is that it will change the taste of the milk. So it's going to be up to you to determine which method is more suitable for you. Then there is that which we refer to as UHT. UHT, ultra high temperature. Now, this is also used to sterilize or to kill pathogen. And it is mostly used in the food processing industry. Like we're looking at milk, yogurt, baby food, stews that you have in tins and so on, things that you have packaged. Ultra high temperature is used. How does this operate? Now, the ultra high temperature, what we do is to heat the food to a temperature of about 135 degrees Celsius before placing it into sterilized container. Before I move on, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you to do a research very quickly and tell me in the chat what is the difference between antiseptic and aseptic. Antiseptic and aseptic. Google that for me and tell me what you find on it. What's the difference between antiseptic and aseptic? Now, the products that are pretty much treated by ultra high temperature UHT, they are usually a little more expensive than other methods of sterilization. However, these products will stay on the shelf for a longer time. These products will stay on the shelf for a longer time. All right, great. You're a bio student. So this evening we are going to be, I think, antibiotic resistance and antibiotic sensitivity are topics that you will cover. But the lesson we really don't have a lot more to cover. We're going to go up until about we have about 15, 20 more minutes. So yes, we're going to be having a little bit of biology, and then you can go. We really don't have much more to cover. All right, great. So we're going to be looking at boiling now. Now, for boiling, that is a common method of sterilization at home. That's a common method for a lot of persons at home. Now, what we do in order to sterilize things, we boil the water to 100 degrees Celsius, and we could either use the steam from the water for sterilization, or we could, there are a lot of video on biotopics. Okay, great. So Cook, you're here. Somebody's reminding you that there are a lot of videos that would be on my channel. We have over 200 videos. You could just click on the blue icon down the bottom there, and you could go to the live or any one of the biology videos and watch one or watch a past paper. And probably you'd garner more. So there are past papers and other stuff on the channel. Just subscribe, go on over in the back end, and you can watch whatever video you find working for you. So we're seeing something there for aseptic and antiseptic are partly synonyms, but something that is antiseptic kills bacteria inside living organism, while some aseptic is surgical, clean, or sterilized. I could take a better definition. I realize that you're saying that one is on the inside and the outside, but I don't know if everybody is getting that bit about antiseptic and aseptic. All right. So I really want to know when we talk about antiseptic sterilization, where is this taking place? When we talk about aseptic sterilization, where is this taking place? We want to make sure that we know that bit. If we should see it in the exam, we can make the difference. All right. So boiling is even more effective if it is done at high pressure. So using the pressure cooker at home, high pressure and the temperature will even serve better at sterilizing, but more so at sterilizing things that are non-living. Now, canning, I don't know if you've ever heard about canning, like your beef is in a tin, your peas, various peas that are in tins. These are also products that would have gone through sterilization. Now, they would have gone through boiling or ultra high temperature, and then they are sealed in a tin to exclude air, right? And of course, they are boiled at really high temperature and pressure. We spoke about steam, and we're saying that steam is most time hotter than water, right? And steam is also used as a method to sterilize things. All right, we're doing well so far. In the early part of the show, somebody spoke about disinfectant, and we're going to be looking at disinfectant now. But let me see what's happening here. Antiseptic prevents the growth of disease, while aseptic caused by harmful bacteria, virus, or other microorganisms. Could be a little better. Aseptic free from, all right. Which can be used on inside, which can be used on outside. When do you use what? Aseptic or antiseptic? Now, disinfectant. We have been talking about some high temperature all along. But one of the things that we know about high temperature is that high temperature tend to damage the cell. It could damage the skin. So you don't want to sterilize yourself and you are in a hot tub of water or you're steam cleaning. That could be very, very dangerous. So this brings us to a point where we have to resort to alternative method of disinfectant. Alternative method, or alternative method of sterilization, sorry. Now, an alternative method of sterilization would include the use of disinfectant. And disinfectants are pretty much chemicals that destroy pathogen. Now, they are antiseptic. Example, those that go with the prefix lyso or chloro. Somebody spoke about bleach, so we talk about chlorodor bleach. I think that was a bleach on the market. Chloro, lyso, these are disinfectant. Now, what chloro does, it forms hypochlorous acid in water, which pretty much release oxygen in treating with pathogen. Now, carbolic acid is one of those disinfectants that was used in the hospital in early days, right? This was pretty much it was pretty much something that was pretty much brought about by Leicester. Now, what used to happen is that after surgery, persons usually die in most cases. And what they found out that something was wrong. And they thought that the problem was with the hygienic practices within the medical profession. So they came up with something, and the first antiseptic that they used, or the first detergent that they used, was carbolic acid. And those who know about carbolic soap, it is a soap that is popularly used in the hospital. Why? Because it is a well-known, tested, and proven disinfectant. All right, so she said antiseptic is used on the inside, and aseptic deals with like cleaning up the instrument for the doctors and so on. All right, now the problem with disinfectant is that it creates a delay, or it causes the wound not to heal as readily as it should. And in some cases, using this disinfectant will also irritate the skin. As such, what they did over the years is to change from antiseptic to aseptic. From antiseptic, from detergent to aseptic. So with aseptic, what they tried to do was to deal with the pathogen before cleaning up the surrounding, cleaning up the stuff that we're using, rather than waiting on a person to be infected before we try to treat with it. Now, antibiotics is something new. Antibiotics. So we're looking at sterilization, and we have looked at a lot of things, and I'm going really, really fast. Now, antibiotic refers to chemicals that are produced by living organisms. Antibiotic refers to chemicals that are produced by living organisms. And these chemicals, what they tend to do is to destroy bacteria. I have been saying repeatedly, not because you're feeling ill, it means that you need to take some antibiotic, because if you do, then you could be creating some problem for yourself. Now, from the fungus comes penicillin, and penicillin is a antibiotic that treats some sexually transmitted disease like gonorrhea and syphilis. It is also used to treat pneumonia. Now, I am repeating these diseases because I want you to remember that these diseases, they are associated, or they are bacteria, the agent, causative agent, bacteria. How do we treat them? Antibiotic. Specific for this one, penicillin. But there are other types of antibiotic. All right? There's like streptomycin. That's an antibiotic that is taken orally. Now there's oxytetracycline. That is also an antibiotic that is oral. And there's also chlorophenocol. I hope I pronounce that well. Chlorophenocol. That is also another antibiotic. And these are taken orally as pill. How do they work? They do either of two things. It's either they stop the bacteria from multiplying or they kill the bacteria. So it's either. Stop the bacteria from multiplying or they would, of course, kill the bacteria. So we spoke about the bacteria, we spoke about being ill, and when you're ill, you just want some antibiotic because antibiotic is this broad spectrum cure. It will take care of everything. It is never ever a good practice. And this is why it's not a good practice. If you are taking the antibiotic when it is not needed or too often, what will happen is that we will have bacteria that will mutate. So when they mutate, we will now end up with a condition we refer to as drug resistant. So when you use this drug, the bacteria is just not responding to it. So it won't control the growth of this pathogen. The major problem that I think we have here, our scientists are looking at, is that syphilis and gonorrhea, we have some mutated forms that we just cannot treat them with penicillin as we would have. They are not responding to the penicillin like they should. So we really don't want to be taking the drugs for everything, the antibiotic for everything, because if you are going to take antibiotic for COVID, then you are going to be having a problem because COVID is caused by a virus. And if it's a virus, you cannot use an antibiotic to treat a virus because antibiotic is used to treat bacteria. Understand? Very well. Now, outside of the problem of antibiotic resistant, there is also drug sensitivity. Drug sensitivity. You would have seen these two things on a past paper that I did some time ago. Likewise for sterilization, this hygiene question, you would have seen them on some past paper that I have there. Paper 2, you would have seen the content that I'm covering. You would have seen it on past papers that I would have worked recently. Now, drug sensitivity, I like to say that it speaks to the body reacting in an unfavorable manner to drugs that is pretty much taken. All right. So what happens is that the body will produce antibodies to the drug that you are taking. So when you take the drug, what is likely to happen is that you might end up with some rash all over the body or places on the body. Or you might go into what we refer to as a severe shock, right? You just go into a shock and then we have to rush you to the hospital and things like that. So you really don't want to just go around and take antibody because you're sick. You want to ensure that if you're not feeling well, you move on to the doctor. So food hygiene, personal hygiene, antibiotic, disinfectant, these are all content from your syllabus, and these are content that we would have seen on the multiple choice paper, on the paper 2, and like I have said, you really don't want to miss any of my live for HSB moving forward. And then we are going to also be looking at biology, and we're going to go over continuity and variation. We're going to do over that entire topic a straight week so that persons can follow and have a very good grasp of continuity and variation, pretty much for both biology and HSB. So today we touched some real salient points that you really don't want to forget. We actually gave a good explanation as to why someone should have a shower. What is it that we're removing and what would happen if we don't? We also looked at the use of deodorant, why we should have a shower, why we should dry the skin properly, and we also look at the importance of proper hand washing. And this pretty much fell nicely into that which we have covered for the past couple of weeks. Now, we really wanted to cover this part of the syllabus because we wanted to up on into drugs, then into pollution. We also have to look at sexually transmitted disease as a topic. So we are really going really fast to see how best we can complete some of these. Now, please do not be late for the class, because what I'll be doing as soon as I put up live, I'm going to be attaching some videos that you need to know for your exam based on the broad topics. The video might not be videos that I have created, but it's not about Mr. Wilson. It is about you passing the exam. And if I can find a video that can help you, I'm going to put it out there, not only Mr. Wilson. In all that you do, please be reminded to like, share, and definitely subscribe. Make sure that you're a part of the family. Make sure that you can, of course, get the information as quickly as it is produced. Once we produce and you are a subscriber and you would have selected all, then information is going to come directly to you. You'll see it pop on your phone, somewhere there on your tablet. And of course, you can read and be a part of the know before everyone else. Now, genital care, we also spoke about that. We spoke about clothing, and we spoke about the social acceptance of persons who are not paying much attention to our personal hygiene. We also spoke about food hygiene, and how food hygiene is very important in order for us to stay alive. If we are not practicing proper food hygiene, then the likelihood of us becoming sick is going to be greater than if we were practicing food hygiene. Now, we looked at a lot of diseases prior to this class as to diseases that are associated with personal hygiene, food hygiene. We look at waterborne disease and so on. That was very important for us to look at how we manage ourselves as a people. We looked at cooking today as well, how we should cook and at what temperature. And one of the big thing, I think, the salient point that we can take away from this lesson is the fact that reheating food is not the best idea, because you might activate heat sensitive bacteria, and of course that will definitely affect you. Another salient point to take away from this lesson is the fact that while we reheat food or eat food, and this will of course kill the bacteria, it will not affect the toxin that has been released in the food by the bacteria. We also looked at sterilization, and we looked at pasteurizing milk, and we said that this can be done two ways. We looked at using a temperature of 63 degrees Celsius, where we're going to heat the milk for about 35 minutes and then cool. We also looked at another where we're going to heat the milk for 72 degrees Celsius, and then we're going to cool it quickly. We also spoke about the use of ultra high temperature, which is of course UHT, and we said that products that are prepared under this condition, they are a little more expensive, one, and two, they tend to stay a little longer on the shelf. We could not have left out the use of boiling, because that's a popular one that we use at home. Now, boiling water could, in most cases, remove pathogen and make it safe for drinking. I am in no way saying that boiling any water will be making that water safe, because boiling water with toxin will not necessarily remove the toxin unless it has a different boiling point than water, where you could actually collect the steam and have that condense and that type of thing. But boiling is, of course, a good method at home. We also spoke about boiling with high pressure, as it were, with the pressure cooker in sterilizing things at home. We spoke also about canning for those persons who are doing foods. I think they call it omic or something like that. Those persons, you know about canning and steaming, and the very importance of using these mechanisms to, of course, get things sterilized. We also understood clearly from the lesson that we cannot use heat treatment to sterilize everything. And because of that, we have to use disinfectant in some cases to sterilize things. We continue by looking at aseptic and looking at antiseptic. And I'm going to be giving you a video on aseptic and antiseptic before you leave, or you could just go into the description after the video to find content on aseptic and antiseptic. But all in all, we were able to look at antibiotic drug resistance. And of course, in our next lesson, we are going to be looking at drugs. So in that lesson, we are going to be looking at things like the physiological effect and the physical effect of taking drugs. I want to be able to complete that very, very quickly so that we can look on into sexually transmitted disease. There has never ever been an HSB paper without sexually transmitted disease, more so AIDS. We have to look at that. Then we have to look at pollution. Though we did do that in the early part of the syllabus for biology, we looked at pollution for everyone, but we're going to be looking at that again. I've never seen an HSB paper without sewage treatment. So that is something we left some video in volume 57, which was the live we did before this live. This is volume 58. So you probably want to go on over and check those videos. They are not my video, but they are somewhere there in the chat and in the description. So those could, of course, assist you in preparing for the exam. My recommendation in preparing for the exam, it's not too late to pass. Make use of all the resources that are available. There are several past papers that have been done, and they are, of course, answered and explained by many education vloggers. Make sure that you access these past papers early enough so that, of course, you can send a message to the creator so that you can have this ongoing dialogue. There are many creators for almost all the subjects that are offered at CXC. See if you can find them in the rooms that you go, the live session that you go. Ask persons in the room, where can I access information? Where can I access this? Where can I access that? That type of a thing, so that you can be in the know. It is pointless to think about sitting the exam next year because there are so many uncertainties that you really don't want to risk it. I hope you have not. Because if you think about next year, where I did a vlog on that, where are you going to go to school? At whose expense? Are you really willing to put your life on pause? If you're in sixth form, the unit that you are doing now, will it be offered whenever you decide to do the exam? What about the SBA? I was told that a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. So those persons don't move away from SBA to do paper 032. No. With paper 032, you get one shot. So you go to that paper, write that paper well, or you don't write it well, and you lose that mark. Do the SBA, your teacher will correct the SBA several times, I hope, so that you can get the best possible mark. So we are well prepared. We are preparing. You are now burning the night oil. I am looking at YouTube. The statistic will show me what you're doing, whether you are studying or not. So whether you want to read a textbook or you want to watch a video, do something. The exam is almost 28 days away. Almost, I think something like that. I'm not too sure. We have our first exam on the 14th of June. So you realize that we are crunch time and we're doing a lot of exam. Some persons are doing 5, some persons are doing 8. So of course you want to pretty much be in that space of preparing for the exam. I know that you have some questions, so if there's something that you love to say, you could just type it in the chat and I'll read it. We have a few minutes that we can spare. Okay, so there are some questions there already. So Campbell is asking, will it kill good bacteria? If it's bacteria, it's bacteria. So I don't know that it is selective. When you do agriculture, you have selective herbicide. I don't know that it is selective. So it will just wipe up. And remember, when we think, that's a nice thing. When we think about bacteria, they're not always bad. All right. So remember, we have those in yogurt and that a lot of women eat yogurt because bacteria in yogurt, and they say that it is good for the vagina. All right. So I don't know if you knew that, but of course, that's a thing for women. All right. Clark is asking, will you be doing revision starting from the beginning of the syllabus? For me to say that I'm going to be doing revision from the start of the syllabus in 28 days, that is going to be a lot. So I don't know that I'll be touching everything, but some salient point that I need to drive home, I'll definitely be doing that. Like I have said, for revision, I'm going to go over the entire genetics with you guys. Be from doing the genetic diagrams. They're on my channel, though you could go to the back end to find that. And of course, I will continue to put out as many past papers as we can to see how best we can help you. All right, somebody's correcting me. It's not omic, it's food and nutrition. So, sir, you believe there is a chance to still get a one? I don't know why anyone would ask that, but I am going to answer your question. I do hope that you have subscribed to the channel, because if you have subscribed to the channel, then you are pretty much on your way to that one. Now, when we started preparing students for exam on this biology live, and we are preparing students from right across the Caribbean, I could share with you where we're preparing students from. I'm definitely going to do that this evening. And why I'm going to do that this evening, because some time ago we were in about four, I want to say country. I don't want to use island. I just want to use country. We're in four countries some time ago. And when we checked yesterday, our reach, we were going really, really wide. So I'm going to share that with you, pretty much the countries that we are in and the countries that we're in and our preparation. All right, great. So let me get back to you. So when we started our preparing for CXC, we started from the front of the syllabus, at which point I was saying to persons, get ready, get ready, get ready. CXC marks on what we call a bell curve. And I'll draw it for you. So what will happen? You'll have something like this, a bell curve, right? So the person's getting A is going to be right up the middle here. Person's getting the one is going to be right up the middle there. Now, we don't know if the I score is going to be 100 or 80 or 90 or 60, but this could very well be your here. If there are persons who really they're afraid they don't want to do the exam, this might just be the year for you to get your one, the year that you are going to say, oh, hooray, I did it, right? So the truth is you really don't want to throw away this opportunity to say that it will come next year, because you might never see it again. You might really never see it again. So, of course, make use of the opportunity. And if you are not as successful as you wanted to be, then you'd have an opportunity to do it again, just like the persons who would have differed. And the money is going to be negligible, I hope. You probably would be able to find the money then and be locked in a class that can help. Sir, I don't see 2014 past paper multiple choice. Remember that the papers that I cover is both biology and HSB. So if you are going to ask me about a paper, you need to name the subject that you're talking about, because I really don't remember what's there. All right. And you could go to the playlist if you want to find all the past paper. Go to both playlists, both HSB and the biology. I usually tell my students who are doing biology, make sure that you look at the HSB paper, because there are aspects of the HSB paper that are a part of the biology syllabus. The students who are doing HSB, make sure you look at the biology experiments, because some of the biology experiments that we have on the channel, they're a part of the HSB syllabus. Make sure that you look at the past papers that we have done, because some of the practical tasks that you should have been done, they are captured on the past papers that we would have answered, graph and things like those. So you want to ensure that you are not only reading your textbook, but you are looking at some papers that would have been worked by some teacher from across the Caribbean, somebody that is preparing you for CXC, not for some other region exam, but of course for the Caribbean exam. Do we have any other question? All right, so I did promise that okay, another question. HSB, there is just from 2015. Okay, yeah. So Macmillan. So we have for HSB. All right, the problem that we're having with HSB is that we really don't have any more HSB past paper. We usually ask students to send in these past paper. And when you send in the past paper, we usually try to fill them in. Yes, we have bio past paper. So if there's no bio past paper there, we have biopass paper for about 10 years or thereabout. So of course we could publish more biopass paper, but we really don't have any more HSB paper. So if you have a copy of a HSB paper that we don't have there and you want to send it to us so that we can publish it, we'd be most grateful. All right. So if you have a paper that you want to share with us, there's the email address. You send it to that email address and we'll definitely work on it to publish. Bear in mind, however, that I do work outside of vlogging. So it is usually based on my schedule. If I have the time, I will do it quickly. If time is a bother, then it's going to take a little time for me to get to that based on what I have to do. All right. So there are a lot of persons who have been supporting us ever since we got started in September 12th of 2020. at which point we had supporters from Jamaica, Guyana, and Trinidad. That is where we're getting most of the persons on the channel from. I'm happy to say that we have viewers now, repeated viewers from Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Grenada, Barbados, Antigua and Bermuda. Barbuda. I hope I did that and I'm not offending anybody. Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, United States, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, India, St. Kitts and Nevis, Zambia, Bahamas, St. Lucia, South Africa, Belize, Cayman Island, Vietnam. Now, a lot of persons are now going to ask, Zambia, why is somebody from Zambia doing in the Caribbean? South Africa, what somebody from South Africa doing in the Caribbean? Vietnam, why is somebody from Vietnam? India, remember a lot of the videos that you watch, they are out of India with a lot of animation. So what we have been doing recently, we have been doing a lot of work on the back end of the channel in optimizing some of our videos. We are trying to move the videos away from being slot directly to CXC, more so to cover the content as it were, so students can consume the content from wherever in the world. So I have seen where I've been looking for a respiration video, and the one I found was from Africa. So fitting if I am finding a video from Africa, then somebody from Africa could find our video just the same. So we have been covering a whole lot of grounds you would have seen. And I want to say I am seeing Macmillan as a member of the family this evening. I don't know where the other family members are. I want to say thanks to all the family members who are usually here, the persons who are sending the word out. Now I'm going to ask you this, even if you could just put one of my videos on your status, your WhatsApp status, so that persons could watch and of course share the word. And when you next come back, I ask that you carry a friend, a classmate, an enemy, your neighbor, somebody that wants to learn something more about biology or HSB so that we can continue to grow. Please do not leave without subscribing. All right. We want to subscribe. And if you don't know how to subscribe, just look to the bottom of the screen to the right there. You'll see a little yellow button or a little yellow square that says CSEC Biology TCP. Click on that and you'll be able to subscribe. Or go below the video, you will see, I think, a red button that says subscribe. Subscribe there. Then you're going to click the notification bell and select all. To access my videos, all you need to do is to go to the left of your screen below the video, click that blue button that has CSEC Biology TCP, and it will take you to the back end of the video. To the top of the screen on all my videos, or most of my videos, you will see a little white circle with a inverted exclamation mark that will provide you the suggested video that you can click on that is based on the video that you are watching. At the end of all my videos, you will find 2, 3, 4 other suggested videos that you can click on. If you are watching a past paper, at the end of that past paper, you are going to see playlists with other past paper that you can click on to, of course, access this content. Now, to find the transcript for the show or to find the transcript for whatever I was teaching, all you need to do is to look below the video here. You are going to see a save, and beside the save, there are 3 little dots. You are going to click on that dot, and you will open a new little pane. And you'll see a flag. Don't click on the flag. Click on open transcript and you'll see the transcript open with the timeline for all the topics I would have covered, and of course you could access it there. Now if you want to give me a thumbs up, what thumbs up will do, once you click the thumbs up that is somewhere in the middle below the video will be saved to your playlist, so you don't have to worry about going out and finding and wonder if it's going to be if it will disappear. It will now be a part of your collection. It will be in your history. So click the thumbs up there, and of course save the video if you like the video. So we have looked at thumbs up, we have looked at how to get the transcript, we have looked at subscribing, we have looked at how to access the videos, and then the last thing we need to look at is, I think you'll see an arrow there that says share. Send the video to your favorite enemy. Let them know that you finished with the foolishness from last year. This year is everybody moving forward, and we're not leaving anyone behind. So send it to your enemy, send it to your friend, and tell them, let's do this thing again. Macmillan, so it's 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2020, 21. All right, I think that is what we have there, Macmillan. We have the 2018, but the thing that we got for the 2018, it was really, really dark and sort of difficult to put together. But I do have it somewhere here. Somebody sent it to me, and I don't know, probably we could try working at it. or if somebody have a better one, could send to us, we'd be very grateful. But please send us as many past papers as possible so that we can work them and send them out for you. We wish for you all the best in your exams. Please be reminded, don't wait until the night before your exam you start studying. Start studying now. Find a study buddy. Find somebody you can talk to, a friend, somebody that is going somewhere. Don't find anybody who to tell you about how they like the shoes that you wear to school today or they like the color of your bag. That doesn't work right now. You don't have any time for that. Put up the cell phone for a little while. If it's not about school, resist the temptation. You probably want to put TikTok on a little break just the same, unless it is something outside of your study hour. Manage your study period. Don't just go studying from now until exam. You'll mad, right? Make sure you have a little fun. Make sure you have a little laughter here and there. Make sure that you're eating and drinking. Make sure you're drinking enough water because it's summer now and you are dehydrating and you're not even realizing. But we're going to be having a good time. I am sure that you're going to be doing well in your exams. Once you stick it out, start studying now. Don't just read 2 lines and leave it there. And you say because you don't like to read, one of your electronic gadgets that you have, I don't know what they are, your cell phone, your tablet, when you read, read aloud and tape it on it. Or when you make a summary, having made a summary of the content that you want to study, read, tape it on your phone or tape it on your tablet, and then listen it like music so that it becomes a part of you. What part of the paper that we sure will be on the outside of the broad topic that will be on it? Everything from disease, from genetics, disease, uh, pollution, sewage, we're sure that it is going to be on the paper. Whether they sent us the broad topic or not, it would have been there. So that's going to be it for me this evening. Usually the show is an hour. We have done that already, presented that which we had planned to present. I'm going to see you next on Friday. And on Friday, we're going to be looking at drugs. All right? And there are a lot of things to know about drugs. You really don't want to miss the show, whether you are biology or HSB. Now, please be reminded, this show used to be 2.5 hours. So I am like sending you home early. So what you need to do is to click the blue button to the side there, go to the back end of the channel and choose a video that suits your need. Choose one of the 200 videos that suit your need and watch the videos for the other 1.5 hours. I will know whether or not you watch the video, so don't cheat yourself. YouTube tell us everything. All right? So go on over and share in the video and call somebody to watch it with you. Have a blessed evening. Thanks and same to you, Jones. Macmillan, big up yourself. What's that? Tell me a little bit more about that, Macmillan. Auditory musical. It helps for real. Okay. So whatever is working for you when you come to the show, don't be afraid to share it. Share it with others. So tell what is working for you. What is working for you with studying? All right. What is not working? Share it here. This is not working for me. How can I make it better? So tell us what is working for you and what is not working for you so that we can become better. All right. Or it's a type of learning. There are different types of learners. Okay. And that's one of them. Oh, you're talking about the auditory learner. Yeah. The visual, kinesthetic, and all of that. Okay, great. Oh, that missed me. Okay, great. All right. So until then, I'm going to take my leave. Take care and see you Friday at 5:05. Remember, join us on a Wednesday at 5:05, Friday 5:05, and Sunday 5:05 for Mr. Wilson Live right here on CSEC Biology TCP. Good evening.